All right, welcome you all to the AYPG online webinars. And today we are at the not Sunday, Saturday afternoon. And I'm so glad that having you all here with us in this online webinar. And today we will take about 1.5 hours to talk about our professional career path in clinical and community pharmacy. And my name is Waranyu Lengriyakun from Thailand, or you guys can call me Kimmy. I am the representing Asian Young Pharmacist Group here. And I also have my co-moderator here, Minjun.
Hi guys, my name is Minjun from Republic of Korea. I'm representing IPSF April Regional Office in this webinar. And also I'm currently serving the position as the chairperson of the 66th IPSF World Congress at the same time. And I hope you guys enjoy today's webinar. And yes, thank you, Kimmy.
Okay, thank you, Minjun. So before we start the webinar, I would like to explain a bit about the ground rules in this room. So once you enter the room, your screen sharing, your audio and video will be switched off, as this is the webinar. And yeah, but if you wanna say hi or using making friends with all the attendees, you can use the Q&A and also the chat box to type saying hi to all. And if it's suitable or is it comfortable for you, please state your full name, and also we can identify you when you ask question or if there is something in the chat box. And you can leave the question at the Q&A function on the Zoom to post any question or you may have during the session. And those questions will be answered by all the speakers, and some of the question may be asked at the end for the Q&A session. Here is the agenda. Minjun, you can go.
Okay. For today's webinar, we invited 5 speakers from clinical and community pharmacy fields from Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Taiwan, and Indonesia. Each of them will share their own stories as well as their own career path. So which will be really exciting for all of us. If you would like to ask any questions to the speakers, as Kimmy said, we are going to have Q&A sessions at the end of webinar. So please use Q&A tool if you have any questions. And okay, the order of today's webinar will be shown on the screen. So please take a look. And we're going to, I want to invite Audrey, and she will introduce and explain about like AYPG, what's next for you, several webinars. So Audrey, can you come and explain webinar series with the participants?
Thank you, Minjun. First of all, thank you very much for all the participants that can come here during this AYPG online forum. So AYPG is the Asian Young Pharmacist Group that represents all the association of young pharmacists in all Asia Pacifics. We are very glad that the association has been growing very fast. And most importantly, we have been having this online forum for the last few months. And and we know exactly that we always need to develop and learn about our profession, because we believe that our profession holds a significant and crucial position for better healthcare system. And based on our previous surveys, pharmacist career path is the top topic that participants want to know more. Therefore, Asian Young Pharmacist Group, AYPG, together with the International Pharmaceutical Students Federation, Asia Pacific Regional Office, IPSF April, are collaborating to share pharmacist career path. It is important to see and to know where we are going and how to achieve even greater than our predecessors. As the saying says, our ceiling should be your floor. So there will be 3 consecutive sessions on this pharmacist career path. The first one is what we have today, discussing the community and hospital pharmacists. We will then continue to see industrial and academia pharmacists from various point of view. And the last one will be NGO and governmental pharmacists in the next sessions. So in all these sessions, we are inviting inspiring pharmacists who excels in their roles. We can learn how they achieve their position today and how they bring changes to the role of pharmacists. Therefore, I hope all of you can learn as much as you can from our respective speakers. Be inspired, as we believe one day you will be the one that inspire us and also the younger generations. And last but not least, thank you for all the wonderful speakers, the AYPG team who never stopped thinking how to develop pharmacists in our region, the IPSF April team, the future pharmacists, and MIMS as well, our sponsor. And of course, thanks to our fresh and fun moderators, Kimi and Nijun. And now I give the floor back to Kimi. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Audrey, for the very good introduction. So as already said, we will have another two webinar on this series. So with another two organizations. So we would like to introduce our instill.
Oh, okay. So I think like Kimi is experiencing some technical issues.
For all the participants here. So organization, and we are, and currently we have the MIMS Japan, South Korea, Singapore. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry for the technical issue. So we, Orgi has already covered about Asian Young Pharmacist Group. And then maybe we can have the representing from MIMS to introduce about MIMS. Can we have Kevin, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin. Nice to have you all here. We have about closing to 500 packs in this webinar, and the number is still increasing. So thank you so much for the time. So let me introduce a bit more about MIMS. MIMS is Asia Pacific's leading multi-channel provider of trusted quality medical information, medical education, and knowledge services connecting healthcare communities. Our mission is to empower healthcare communities across Asia Pacific. Next. Next, please. Okay, so MIMS is founded, has been around for more than 50 years. We were founded in 1963, and we have about 700 employees all over Asia Pacific. We are present in the previous slide, please. Previous slide, please. Okay, yes. We are present in 17 countries across Asia Pacific. So all the way from New Zealand towards Ireland in Europe. And next page, please. Next page, please. Okay. Oh, next, previous page, please. Okay. Yeah, what we have for you is more than just information. We have drug references, we have guidelines, professional development. We also have a reference and clinical decision support system. This is basically drug interaction system. It's been used across 20,000 healthcare institutions in Asia Pacific, in 13 countries in Asia Pacific. Now what we are moving towards also is career opportunities beyond borders, possibly relocating healthcare professionals from one country to another country. We have successfully done so for nurses. We are bringing nurses from Malaysia and Asia, ASEAN areas to UAE. We are looking forward to do more with pharmacists, okay, hopefully in the future. Next page, please. Next page, please. Okay, so these are all the 20,000 healthcare, more than 20,000 healthcare institution in Asia Pacific that's using our clinical decision support system. So nobody is Malaysia, where the whole of Malaysia's public healthcare system is actually running on MIMS drug interaction system. Yep, and that's all for me. And do remember to sign up as members of MIMS to take advantage of this information system, and also to get to know more about the webinar series and etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And now we will have Min Jun to introduce a bit for the IPSF.
Okay, thank you, Kimi. And I would like to introduce about like IPSF, which is International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. IPSF is a leading international advocacy organization for pharmaceutical students and recent graduates, and now representing approximately 500,000 pharmacy students and recent graduates from more than 90 countries worldwide. IPSF raises the voices from students today and pharmacists of tomorrow. Next slide, please. IPSF consists of 5 regional offices, and IPSF APRO, which is the oldest regional office in IPSF, is representing Asia Pacific regions in IPSF. Next slide, please. Founded in 1999, IPSF APRO has 18 countries and 28 associations and more than 70,000 members. IPSF is made up of diverse cultures, languages, and pharmaceutical society across Asia Pacific regions. To help and support our members to become future leaders, IPSF APRO offers multiple events, including leadership training workshops, competition, and etc. Next slide, please. We, IPSF APRO, is inviting and welcoming you to our members. So what are you waiting for? For further information, please visit our official Facebook, Twitter, issue, YouTube, or Instagram. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Minjun. That was a nice presentation from IPSF APRO, and I'm also graduate from IPSF APRO, so it was so nice. We all have many of the students here as well. So can we have next slide? Yeah, as so you know, today we are in the clinical and community pharmacy series on this webinar, and now it's time for us to move to our honored speaker that are ready with us here in the panelists. Can we have the first one, please? Next slide. Yes, our first speaker is from Japan. So his name is Shimpei Aoyama. He graduated pharmacy from the major university, and now he is registered pharmacist in both Japan and Canada because he went to join the Canadian pharmacy practice program in the University of British Columbia. And Shimpei has worked in the Ceres Hospital before, and now he moved to the community pharmacy. And also, Shimpei is the founder of the Peace Group, which provides the opportunity for the pharmacy student and pharmacists in Japan to learn pharmacy English. And now Shimpei is already with us here. Can we have you to the floor, Shimpei?
Okay, thank you very much, Kimi, for introducing me. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
Okay, so hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about career path in community pharmacy, especially in a chain pharmacy.
Mr. Shimpei, can you do the swap display, please? Swap display button.
Oops. Now can you see my display or?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about career path in community pharmacy, especially in the chain pharmacy. This is about me. So Kimi have already mentioned about me, so I just skip this slide. Okay, so this is a brief summary of career path in Japan. So look at the left side. So this is the number of pharmacists is right now the number of the pharmacists is 311,289. It means that 170 per 100,000 population. So this is the highest density in OECD country right now. So right now the pharmacy students and young pharmacists are worried about their future because they might find their job in the future. But the number of the pharmacy is still increasing. That's 59,000 right now. And look at the right side. This is a pie chart. It shows the percentage of pharmacists by employment category. So community pharmacist is the highest. Like most pharmacy graduates would like to pick their career. It is 58%, and hospital pharmacist is 19%, and drug company 13%, and university is 2%. So this slide shows the nature of the work in community setting. So what do we do in Japan? So basically our job is a dispensing. So this is a very basic job, but we need to do right now. Dispensing is just preparing for medication, just picking up medication from the shelf and double checking if the medication is right. And second one is providing information on medications. We call it's counseling. So counseling on medications such as like non-prescription medication to prescription medication. And another one is a family pharmacist. That is a unique service in Japan. So family pharmacist is the same idea as a family doctor. So each patient register as their family pharmacist. Then the patients can, the same pharmacist will explain the patients when they come to the drugstore. And family pharmacists should be available for 24 hours and 7 days. Even in the day off, they need to be with their cell phone, so they need to answer their questions. So this is really challenging. And last one is a home care. So the population of the old people has been increasing in Japan right now. So home care is quite important. The pharmacists go to their house to deliver medications and also set up the medication and provide counseling. Sometimes we go there by other healthcare professionals, such as nurses or doctors. And this is how to step up in a community pharmacy, especially in a chain pharmacy. So first of all, so we start with a full-time pharmacist. It is not difficult to find a job as full-time pharmacist because the pharmacist is still demanding in our country. So like in different countries, people might start with a part-time or contract pharmacist, then they find a position of full-time pharmacist. But in Japan, no, it's really easy. So we directly go to the full-time pharmacist. Then after like 2 years or 3 years of experience, so we go to the manager. Most people do not want to be a manager in Japan because it is really challenging, but the salary doesn't increase. So that that's why many people do not want to be a manager. So as a pharmacy manager, so they need to create a work shift for the coworkers or support them, or they need to be responsible for drug inventory. And next level is a area manager. So area managers covers 2 or 3 pharmacies at the same time, area managers should be familiar with more number, like increase the sales. There might be some tests to step up, but the most important thing is that the way to communicate with patients or coworkers. So communication skill is the most important. And next level is a district manager. So district manager, which they need to cover 7 or 10 pharmacies. They need to know like latest regulation or healthcare system. Also, they need to provide some lectures to support managers or new pharmacists. Okay, these are important skills and training. As I mentioned, so communication skill is the one that's important, and management skills, and also the understanding healthcare system is important to get money back from the government. And counseling skills, providing appropriate self-care and non-prescription and also prescription counseling. And if you have a specialty, so that's a plus point. Okay, this is how do I love or how do I hate my job? So I will start with the hate part. Sometimes it's really busy for dispensing, so we don't have time, like no time to do anything without dispensing. And quota is stressful, especially in the chain pharmacy. Like owner encourage us to get more family pharmacist services because that brings us more money. So that's really, really stressful and need to follow the rule. There are so many rules that we should do or we should not do. And other thing is that salary is limited. It doesn't increase a lot. And any other thing is that cannot get enough information to assess medications, or it depends on what kind, how many clinics near your pharmacy. And the lab part, this is I like to tell you today. So community pharmacists needs to cover a variety of patients with different diseases. So covering like cardiovascular to like dermatology or self-care, so many things that we need to study. And another thing is that it make a lot of decisions. So pharmacists are leader or king of the pharmacy. So probably you will be asked many questions, but you need to make a lot of decisions. Salary is guaranteed. Even if you make some mistakes, you wouldn't be fired as far as you are doing great. You are trying to do good. And don't need to think about management or sales, and you would get to know more people. Okay, this is our last slide. So what makes, there are 3 questions. So first one is why I switched from hospital to community pharmacist. Because I used to work in a hospital setting. The reason is that community pharmacists are responsible for therapy after patients were discharged from hospital. Because I used to be a pharmacist in a hospital, so really in a hospital, like pharmacists are like focusing on acute care, and we can do many things. Only when patients are in the hospital. But in a community setting, so we can do many things because people live in community. So that's why I really like work as a community pharmacist. And second question, what is my passion for community pharmacist? Because we can provide individual care depending on where patients live and who they live with and how they are spending their life. So to provide individual care, we need to be their person. And last question, so this question has been important for me. So always I've been thinking about it. What makes me being a pharmacist? We are pharmacists not because of the license, not because we went to pharmacy. So pharmacists should make professional decisions based on pharmaceutical knowledge. So that is do what pharmacists should do. That's what I'm thinking right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shimpei, for the wonderful presentation. And thank you very much for introducing community pharmacists in Japan and the roles of the community pharmacist. I really agree with that interaction and communication between pharmacist and patient is a really important thing for the community pharmacist. And I think it gives us the general ideas of community pharmacist. And I wish all of you enjoyed his presentation. And next speaker is from Thailand. I'd like to introduce her to all participants. And Suneerat Kittikun is current pharmacy owner in Thailand. Before that, she graduated from College of Pharmacy and received MBA degree in graduate school. She has been working as a production pharmacist and R&D pharmacist and marketing fields for a while, and right now, she's owning her own pharmacies. So I'd like to invite Suneerat now. And Suneerat, are you ready to share your story with us? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shimpei. Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen now? Okay. So thank you for having me today. And hi everyone from the other country. And we are pharmacy, right? Pharmacy student, and someone is now pharmacist already. So I would like to introduce myself, and Anne. Now I run our business with family. So the role is like at the Shimpei. Last speaker that he talked about what his duties in the pharmacy store. But now I would like to share how to run the business. You can imagine, and when you would like to change and choose to do the pharmacy in your country. Okay, let's start now. Firstly, our pharmacy name is Somnuk Pesat. We are in Chonburi Province, Thailand. If you know Pattaya, we very near with Pattaya. And this is the first generation. My father and my mother-in-law, they set up this pharmacy about 1960. It's me 60 years ago already. And now it's my husband and me, second generation, and this our children, maybe third generation in the future. Okay. So nowadays the business already changed, not same as the past time. And we are the officially sub-dealer of government pharmaceutical organization since 1961, and we accredited by Pharmacy Council since 2010. Because in Thailand we have to deal with a lot of the company to sell the drug. We are if someone call us drug dealer, something like that. And company, because now we are the company already. Company, we have two parts of the company. Which the first one is the B2B, it's mean business to business, like a wholesale. We set up the branding is a SNB medical solution. You can see at the website. And the another one, we do a business to customer as a community pharmacy. We have the Facebook page to communicate with our customer in Chonburi province, especially in the city. Okay, now the business model, the old one, someone can buy something somewhere at some time, but now we have the internet, we have the social network, we have many platforms. So the current business, anyone can buy anywhere at any time. we have the many platforms like Lazada, Shopee, or a lot of you can buy even in Facebook or IG. We can refuse that pharmacy is between the business and professional, right? So we have to balance the two things. And the business problem that we face every day is we have to upsell and we have to down cost. Okay, I will talk to you later how we have to run the business as good. Okay. Okay, so I would like to compare the business and pharmacy business together, and you can imagination what is your next plan in the future. You can write your dream plan or anything if you want now, and maybe in the next 5 years you can do it as well. Business, we can sell, we cannot sell everything to everyone, but we have to choose which thing and which one we have to sell to. So we have to do the STP marketing. STP is mean segmentation. Segmentation is mean like you have to categorize. As my idea, I do like a by period. If we have to separate by period, like the patient, the customer need prevention or supplementation or rehabilitation. We have to know each, and we choose which one we have to play with. And then another one by age. As my location, our location is near with the school, so we should like a children. We try to be like a children pharmacist for children. Like mother can come to me and discuss about their child and which medicine or which product that they want to use, and maybe by disease. But I don't want you to limit yourself only one segmentation. But we have to know every area in our profession, in our disease. But we have to concentrate one. Okay, do you know what I mean? Concentrate only one segmentation. It's like your big market. You have to know your area. You have to know your customer. Okay. T is mean targeting. When you know anything and you separate as a pieces and you see it, which one you choose the market that you have to play with, and you are inspired to do work with. Like if you are really happy with the infectious disease, something like that, you can go deep down with it. And then if you choose the market that you target already, you have to do your positioning. Nowadays, we heard a lot about the personal branding, right? Something like that. We have to find out which one is our USP, not USP pharmacopoeia. Okay, it means unique selling point. Which one is your unique selling point? Your store, and it is core value. Core value, I think pharmacy we have the very strong core value because we have the knowledge. But the important thing is the differentiated value. It make you win in your area. When we do the STP marketing already, we can imagination what customer persona. It be like what kind of customer will come to your store, will come to your pharmacy, and how we can go to like a 4P. Have you ever seen 4P, product, price, place, promotion? When you have the segmentation already, you will see your customer. What kind look like your customer? So now you can decide what kind of product, how many products, what product you will choose in your store, what price that will you set. The product. Okay, I will get back to product. Product in store we will category for the four group. Cheap but big volume it will give you the cash. The second one, cheap with low volume, you have to have it because customer need it. The third one is expensive, big volume. This one is like a cash cow, and you have to keep this as important. The last one, expensive, low volume. You have to have it into your store also. Okay, I will go to like we have to see all the items. In Thailand, the retail pharmacy have the SKU about like 2,000 to 2,000 items per one shop is average. So, but 80% of sale is come from only 20% of the goods. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Pareto principle, you can learn more about it, because so you have to know like a first 100 list, which one you have to keep it all the time in your shop. So go to the price. When you know your customer, the price is not the low price already. We have to like a value price, because we sell them with our knowledge, right? Not just not buy it, but we have to talk, we have to explain. Okay, for the place is 2 points that is very important, is visibility and accessibility. Visibility is mean like a lighter, and accessibility is easy to go and like in the good location. And promotion, as the now online cannot do 2 things, this is service and activity. So you can do activity in your community, in your pharmacy, like a set community together, something like that. When you are entrepreneur, you have to do everything like a circle. You have to plan, you have to do check and act, PDCA cycle. You do every day, because we face the problem every day. Okay, let's go to the account. Account is very important for every business. If you run on business, you have to separate your salary and the business money. You have to separate and we have to do the account. 2 account that we have to concern. First one is profit and loss statement. We have to sell minus cost of goods sold, or COG. Cost of goods sold is the things only you sell, not the whole store. Okay, and you got the gross profit. The gross profit we can see, estimate which one is good for sale or not, and then we minus SG&A, selling, general and administration cost. The SG&A is including your salary in here, so you have to cut your money from the company. Okay, and then you will get the net profit. Net profit is the final year, the end of the year. You will know the net profit, and will go to the asset for run the business in the next year. But moreover, we have another one account is cash flow statement, because the account is like a summary everything. But the real one is the cash flow. You have to know the cash flow today, how many money come into your pharmacy, and how many you have to pay, because you have to maintain your credit with your customer, with your supplier. Some business look great in sale but fail in business. Why? Because when they sell a lot, they have to put a lot of the goods, right? They have to spend a lot of money to buy the things to sell. So cash flow is very important to run the business. Okay, the challenge for pharmacy owner, for entrepreneur now is like as I told you, we have to deal with problem every day. Because our business is like wholesale and retail also. Okay, the entrepreneur is now no actual holiday, right? And we have to self motivate all the time. And we have the limit time, limit store, limit money. So we have to choose what we to do and what we not to do. And creativity is very important in the business. If you have to pay to supplier, you have to pay on time or before that. And if you commit with your customer, you have to do as you commit with your customer, because it's your reputation in the future. Okay. Okay, in the COVID-19, because we are in the community, we set the little pantry sharing, like a sharing economy. Someone have a lot of food, they can bring it to our next shop, and someone want it, then can get it to eat, to use it, something like that. And COVID-19 bring us to do like a telemedicine also. This one is the doctor at hospital, and this customer or patient come to my shop, and we have to do telemedicine, because at that time in the hospital is very busy. So we like another clinic of the hospital, but we talk with with the doctor by the mobile phone. And after that, the customer, the patient come to get the medicine at our shop again. And sometimes we go outside to see the patient, to do the blood pressure for them, something like that, and recommend them and see the compliance for the medicine. Okay, I think you guys can get something from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, P. Ann, from Thailand. And wow, it's so inspiring from both of the speakers about the community pharmacy. And I hope you guys got a lot of information and how the life would be if you choose the community pharmacy as your future career. And of course, there are many. It's very interesting about the family pharmacists, and also as the entrepreneurship, you need to have a lot of skills that might need apart from pharmacy knowledge. As we are running out of time, I mean, it's behind the schedule, so we will skip the break and proceed to the next speaker. So our next speaker is from Singapore. We have with us Dr. Doreen Tan. She graduated from NUS as a PharmD, and also now she is working as the associate consultant pharmacist, and also act as the chair of the pharmacy specialist in accreditation committee for the cardiology. She's very expert in the clinical part, and now she is with us here. Can we have Dr. Doreen to the floor?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share my cover page right now.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Okay, thanks for the warm welcome. And so I thought I'll try to share as much as I can in 10 minutes. When I first found out that I had to speak in 10 minutes, I was like, whoa, how are we going to cover this in 10 minutes? But then there's going to be a question and answer session. So happy to take any of the other questions coming forward from here. So I was going to talk about being a clinical pharmacist. Now, everyone thinks that the clinical pharmacist is a title. And so I just want to talk a little bit more about what I thought being a job or vocation. So what a job is something that you are paid for. Like, you know, you have a job as maybe a teacher, a coffee maker, or, you know, a lawyer. So that's a job where you're paid to do something. So you kind of get paid and you have to do your responsibility. However, I feel like being a pharmacist is a vocation. And what this vocation means is that you have a very strong feeling that is like a career and occupation and your life calling. So I feel like as a pharmacist, everybody is clinical, and you don't have to wait for the title of clinical pharmacist in order to do a clinical pharmacy job. So please don't run away with the idea that you have to be given a clinical pharmacist title before you can do patient care work. So I was going to talk about a little bit more the clinical practice in hospital in Singapore. And so I just wanted to share a new framework that has been rolled out late 2019 and officialized by the Ministry of Health, or MOH Singapore, in 2020. And you can see the various phases of how our pharmacists would perform through their lifespan in a hospital. So we usually call our young pharmacists the first 1,000 days pharmacist, because first 3 years, 365 days times 3 gives you 1,000 days of being a young pharmacist. So this particular progression path refers to the time after the first 3 years. And at our hospital, at Kut Epot Hospital, what we've done is we've tried to build everything in just so that we prepare our pharmacists for this coming forward pathway. So what we want, the 4 performance levels after the first 3 years is for our various pharmacists to perform at the foundation level, intermediate level, advanced level, and expert level. And so this is supposed to describe you all your way from the time you are from the 4th year all the way to maybe 20 years in practice in the clinical pharmacy arena. So the roles of a pharmacist today is very varied, and I think the first 2 speakers have touched on a lot of different areas, like being in the community, the home visit pharmacist. And I think very importantly, we must not forget the soft skills that a pharmacist must have as a collaborator, as well as a communicator, a leader, as well as an advocate for health. We also managers, like earlier Anne shared with you about the family business. We managed a lot of things beyond the family business as well. In the hospital setting, we manage a lot of workflows and supply of drugs, a lot of complaints, a lot of medication error issues. And so being a manager, trained being a manager is very, very important. Of course, most importantly, also as an educator, because we always have young pharmacists coming through the system. And remember that as a practitioner, you will also educate your patients as well as their caregivers in taking care of themselves. And very importantly, people always forget, or really they don't like being a researcher. But I think being a researcher is very, very important because you add new knowledge to the field of the practice. So these competency standards are for pharmacists, and there's 7 domains. I will not go through the details of the 7 domains, but the 7 domains are meant to describe what we want our pharmacists to be competent at in order to get from the foundation level all the way to the expert level. And so there's a new pharmacy strategy that has been uncovered by MOH's Chief Pharmacist Office, or CPO for short. And there are 5 thrusts that align with key shifts in the healthcare transformation strategy. And of course, a lot of people are going towards automation. In Singapore, that's a very big thing. And so I always tell my young pharmacists when I was head of pharmacy a few years ago, and I said, you know, guys, if we are taken over by machines, what would you guys be doing? So I think it's critically important for us as pharmacists to remember that we must not lose the soft skills, because in order for you to continue your practice as a clinician, you do need to develop the soft skills as well in terms of shared decision making, motivational interviewing. It's not just about the clinical practice, which actually can be taken over eventually by artificial intelligence or by computers. And now robots are able to pack medications for our patients as well. In Singapore, there are a lot of things that are moving towards central supply. I think some of you may be familiar with the US way of collecting medicines, where patients drive through to the pharmacies. And so we are now working on criteria where we can allow patients to top up medicines on their own, order medicines on their own online, as our country becomes more and more educated in the IT field. So particularly during the COVID period, what happened was we have our patients order by themselves online. Whenever they came to see a doctor, we don't want them to stay in the pharmacy anymore. We send them home, and we get them to go online with a guidebook and get them to order through what we call the Health Hub, which is set up by Ministry of Health in Singapore. Everyone has a private account, and they can go online and they can order medications online. And we had free delivery of medicines to their homes. We also set up things like lockers outside our pharmacy, so that they don't have to come in. They don't even have to wait. They order online, we top them up, and we put them in the lockers, they take and they go home. So what is the pharmacist really in the hospital setting? I would say, firstly, the pharmacist is also a clinician. A lot of people always think about clinicians as doctors, but I really do think that all people who deal with direct patient care are also clinicians. And here we have pharmacists participating in multidisciplinary rounds, and we have another pharmacist on the left-hand side, which is also a pharmacist in clinic. And here she's demonstrating blister packing and aiding a patient's compliance to therapy. One of our initiatives that we've done a couple of years back was called Project Cut a Pillar, meaning we were helping patients with polypharmacy simplify their regimes by stopping a lot of medicines that they no longer need. The pharmacist is also a collaborator, and this is an example of how the pharmacist supports the hospital in writing clinical policies. And this is an example of the use of direct-acting oral anticoagulants in the setting of Yishun Health or Kutipot Hospital. And here I pictured a shot with all our nursing directors, just to show that we work very closely with nursing as well in order to make our patient care very, very seamless. All these policies that we've written is with a multidisciplinary work group that we also take care of the nursing perspectives as well as the doctor's perspective. The pharmacist is also a researcher. And here pictured in various pictures are our pharmacists presenting posters at various meetings. And of course, this particular picture of us on the right-hand side was a collaborative between cardiologists. And we basically won a Young Scientist Award in 2014 for the work that we've done in clinical pharmacogenomics, where clopidogrel choice is concerned. We used CYP2C19 and we got a grant for it. We also got a prize for it. Here we talk about the pharmacist being the teacher and a coach, and here pictured are all our various pharmacists delivering the talks at the various pharmacy congresses every year. I think it's critically important to put yourself out there, all you young pharmacists, to deliver a talk, because sometimes if you challenge yourself, that's where you grow the most. And then, of course, to share with you my journey, actually, I'm not so young, so I kind of thought it was funny to be talking in a young pharmacist group. But I started out my journey in 1997 as a young pharmacist in training as a pre-reg pharmacist in Tan Tock Seng Hospital. I went to community pharmacy for a while at that time, but I couldn't take it because at the time, the scope was very limited and people came in already with a preset idea of saying what they want. And most importantly, at that time, hair dyes were still under lock and key. And all the neighborhood ladies would come in to ask me, Miss, is this hair color nice for me? And so I got fed up with that job. And so I went back to the hospital setting. And from the year 2000, I've been with the whole Alexandra Health, Yishun Health system for 20 years of my life. And I saw through the move from Alexandra Hospital to Khoo Teck Puat Hospital. So it took 8 years before I decided to be a cardiology practice pharmacist. I did a variety of jobs, drug information, purchasing, outpatient pharmacy. I even did nursing home therapy reviews, all sorts of different jobs before I decided I wanted to specialize in cardiology. Then I attained my PharmD in 2012, not that many years ago. And I entered the cardiology specialist pharmacist register in Singapore. In Singapore, there's 7 recognized pharmacy specialization, and cardiology is one of them. There are infectious disease, geriatrics, as well as oncology, and many others. There's a total of 7. And we also set up our cardiology pharmacy residency, which is a second-year residency. There's also a first-year residency. And by 2016, we had our very first resident in our cardiology residency program. Okay, so I just want to share 2 national initiatives that I have been involved in recently and the honor of being so. And I'm sharing this not because I want to exaggerate or tell you how good I am, but I just want to illustrate that it's important for you as pharmacists, wherever you are, to volunteer whatever you think you can do to the larger picture of things, especially when you think it speaks to you, where your heart is concerned and where you think you need to contribute. So the first national initiative is AMI Hope, or Heart Outcomes and Patient-Reported Experience Study. And this is actually a Ministry of Health awarded grant. It's a multi-million dollar pragmatic study that's led by a cardiologist. And so at the time when he asked me for my help, I pitched in to help him write the grant, and we managed to secure this grant, which was close to $10 million. And the main pitch behind this grant was to automate and digitalize care for our post-myocardial infarction patients. The most important features about this is that we are mobilizing pharmacists in the post-MI care and shifting from the traditional model of what patients are used to seeing just doctors. Now we're going to be deploying pharmacists in the process, and also a seamless handover from the acute care to the polyclinic, which is a primary care setting. And hopefully the handover is now smoother than what we used to have before. The other national initiative that I'm spearheading is called the Person-Centered Drug-Related Problem Resolution, or Persuasion. We've actually realized that adherence problems is the biggest drug-related problem in Singapore. And what we've realized is also from my experience with dealing with patients in the cardiology setting, a lot of times we need to practice shared decision-making as well as motivational interviewing, considering our patients' biopsychosocial background in order to get them to understand why they're on certain medicines. And so there's a need for us to shift our pharmacist mindset towards also addressing the non-pharmacological management of patients in terms of their lifestyle and everything else, and also understanding where their values and beliefs are, just so that we can target the mindset as well as beyond just the clinical assessment of the patient. So I just want to share 2 basic principles why I do what I do as a pharmacist. So this is the first principle, number 1. Begin with the end in mind. So I was 14 years in practice before I went to do my PharmD. And so a lot of people are like, oh, wait, but why? 14 years in practice, you are probably senior enough to be teaching some of the lecturers who are actually teaching you in a PharmD class when you entered there. I was very clear when I did my PharmD, being that I wanted to get the doctor title in order to be eligible for national grants. And because of the doctor title, I have been very blessed with securing a couple of national grants with a few hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all these gene studies and clinical studies would not have been possible without those grants. Also, I was among the first batch of the National Collaborative Prescriber Program. In Singapore, we've started up NCPP, which is a collaborative prescribing program, and that allows pharmacists to be licensed prescribers. And we all have our licensed collaborative prescriber agreement, just so that we can independently prescribe for our patients. And of course, the most important thing that is topmost on my mind now is this particular international conference that's happening in Singapore next year called the ISCP, or the International Society of Cardiovascular Pharmacotherapy. Now, typically, all these conferences are chaired by cardiologists, but I had the honor of being asked to be the scientific chair for this particular meeting. And I would like to also tell everyone that sometimes it really isn't about what your title is, but also what people think you can do. So if you put yourself out there and you keep contributing, when people can recognize your capabilities, they will actually come around and ask you to help out. Even though it may traditionally be a cardiologist or a clinician role, they may actually ask you as a pharmacist to help out. So guys, don't be discouraged by hurdles in life. I think the higher the hurdle, the more muscular you're going to be, the more training you get, the more muscular you're going to be, the more polished you're going to be, and you can jump more and more high hurdles as you come along, as long as you begin with the end in mind. So the principle number 2 is really to have passion and purpose and a direction in what you want to do. And so I think the Japanese colleagues of ours here would be more familiar with Ikigai than I can, and they probably can recognize this and explain this better than I can. But I recently was introduced to this concept of the Ikigai, and that is actually the center of the flower, where you could have your passion, your mission, your profession, your vocation all join into one, and that's what I call the sweet spot. And that's where actually I think every morning you can wake up looking forward to do what you love doing every day. If you wake up every morning and you find your job a drag, then guys, you're in the wrong place. So you should actually be in a place where you can wake up every morning looking forward to do your best for your patients or for whatever you're doing your job for. So this is actually an epitaph that a very senior group CEO asked us to do several years ago. And so I would encourage that if you have time to sit down and draw out what your life goals are going to be. Right? And you must be at the time when you're not stressed and your mind is completely at rest. And this particular epitaph, I can tell you, guided me through a lot of decisions in my life, because it actually represents where my Ikigai is. And whenever I have to make major decisions, I always look back at this picture and I ask myself, where is it that I wanted to be at the end of the day? Where's my passion? Where's my purpose? And where will I build my vocation? Therein, hopefully, that's where my professionalism would lie. So this is a slide to tell you, this is a picture of a polypharmacy patient that I worked with. And this is why I keep doing what I do. When you have patients that you work with, and for everyone else who has given up on them because they're so difficult to manage, and you are the one who gets them to goal, whether it's a diabetes goal or the blood pressure goal, or everyone else has started adding 21 medicines to them and they still cannot take the medicines, their blood pressures are still all over the place, and you are the one who gets them the goal. That's where they will hold your hand and they'll tell you, you are my angel. And there are times that patients actually tell me that I can skip my cardiologist appointment, but I will never skip yours. So I, of course, will tell them you have to still follow your cardiologist, don't just follow me. But I think ultimately the key thing is why I keep doing what I do is because of these patients who appreciate what you do. And when you reach out to your patients where your biopsychosocial background and beliefs and value systems are, when you reach out to them at their heart level, beyond the clinical level, you will be able to reach a patient at the heart. One day when I was at work, it was a public holiday, I was sitting at my table. Madam Zaiton, after 3 years of me not seeing her, calls me and says, I thought I'll just call you to say hi to you. I've never forgotten you. And even though I've got many other doctors after that, I still thought I still want to talk to you, connect with you, and remember you in the process of my care. So those are the things, guys, that keep me doing what I do. So a few parting shots for all of you. I'd like to remind everyone, you must learn to enunciate yourself. What I mean by enunciating yourself is whatever you're thinking, think about how you want to say it and in the context of your saying it. Never ever just hide in one corner and think, oh, maybe somebody else's idea is better. Because if you do that, nobody's going to know, what you represent. Right? And then when something happens, reflect and learn. Be it good or be it bad, always take that experience home. Think about it at the end of the day and ask yourself, how would you do this thing differently? If you did something well, ask yourself what worked. And if you keep doing this, remember, ladies and gentlemen, the hurdles that you keep jumping through will be higher and higher as you go along. Now, remember to be a servant leader. Not only try to lead, but also be a servant. Always remember where you are, which role you are, and always behave accordingly to where your role is in every setting. And then always remember that whenever you do things, always to add value to others, not to yourself, but to others, and you will never go wrong. So lastly, don't wait to be invited. When you feel strongly about something, just put up your hand and say, hey, I want to give it a try. Maybe I don't know anything, but I need your guidance, but I want to give it a try. So put up your hand, guys, and then step forward and try whatever you want to try. Okay, and so lastly, always develop the drive to always do the right thing. And whenever you want to do the right thing, add value to others, people will never misunderstand your intentions. And remember that your intentions must not be for yourself, but always for the right thing for the patients, and always to add value for somebody else, and you will never go wrong. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I end my talk, and I'll give the floor back to the host. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen, for the wonderful presentation. And it is really interesting to hear how she continues her careers as a pharmacist. And as she mentioned, like, we need to remind ourselves that, like, pharmacists are working as multiple roles, and we need to remember again that we need to develop our skills as much as possible to be a wonderful pharmacist. And now I want to move to the next speaker, and I am introducing Jack Chen from Taiwan to you guys. He's currently working as a director of the Division of Clinical Pharmacy at China Medical University Hospital. After he had studied in Taiwan, he moved to the United States for a PhD in pharmacy administration and management. He taught students in university in both United States and Taiwan, and now he is working at the hospital. Now I would like to invite Jack Chen here. Can we have Jack Chen to the floor?
Hi, thank you for your introduction. I'm Jack Chen. I'm from Taiwan. I would like to introduce, and it's my pleasure to share with my perspective about the pharmacist professional career path in Taiwan. Next. Okay, when people ask me what I feel about choosing pharmacy as my career, I always adopt an old Chinese saying, 进可攻, 退可守, advance to attack, retreat to preserve. Because there are so many career pathways in pharmacy I can choose from. No matter if I'm more aggressive or more conservative, I can always choose one career pathway which fits me best. Take my personal, for example. I'm very interested in social issues, so that I pursue my postgraduate degree in social pharmacy, and now I can even engage in both practice and academia, working for the university and the university hospital. There are now 9 schools of pharmacies in Taiwan, graduating 1,100 students per year, but only 700 graduates pass the licensure exam. So the licensure exam is pretty high in Taiwan. Once passed the exam, the students, they can choose various pharmacy areas, such as academia, pharmaceutical industry, government, and the clinical practice. Today, I would like to focus on the hospital pharmacy. Next. To cultivate a pharmacist profession in 2011, because based on the accreditation standard for hospital in medication management and use, there are multiple scopes and types of pharmacists working in the hospital to ensure the medication safety and efficacy, including pharmacy director, chief pharmacist, clinical pharmacist, compounding pharmacist, drug information pharmacist, medication management pharmacist, medical informatics pharmacist, clinical trial pharmacist, and pharmacists working in the pharmacist clinic, such as warfarin clinic. Pharmacists have so many roles in hospital to ensure the patient can get the medication they need. Yeah, next. To cultivate the pharmacist profession, in 2011, the Taiwan Society of Health System Pharmacists, TSHP, developed a professional development ladder for hospital pharmacists. The standards was then adopted by most hospitals in Taiwan. Hospital pharmacists should demonstrate their knowledge and skills in core pharmacy practice, research, teaching, and the professional leadership once promoting from P1 through P4, which also called level 1 to level 4 pharmacist. For example, if you want to be a level 3 pharmacist, you must be capable in doing formulary development, new drug evaluation. As for research, you must complete the oral presentation at a workshop or a conference, and must involve in the quality control project. And then if you want to be a level 4, P4 pharmacist, you even need to demonstrate a more strong role in leadership. So you must be a leader for a quality control project. The pharmacist can receive additional bonus once climbing to upper level of the ladder. Next. This slide introduces the interactions between professional ladder with the career path. Once you demonstrate your knowledge and skills and become a level 3 pharmacist, for example, and if you are interested in the management role, you can take the upper pathway we call administrative pathway, and become a group leader, chief pharmacist, division director, or even the pharmacy directors. However, being a manager is not really easy. You have to deal with a lot of human issues, facing the conflict between colleagues and the patients. And also, you need very good IQs and the communication skills to be a manager. Like Darren just mentioned, if you are interested in the direct patient care, then you can take the clinical pathway, become a clinical pharmacist in ICUs or general wards, or even take the board exam to be a pharmacy specialist. Next. Okay, right now, all the teaching hospitals in Taiwan offer a 2-year postgraduate year training program for the entry-level pharmacist. After the PGY year, you may pursue the residency program or even specialty training. But we do not yet offer the official certificate for the specialist training in Taiwan. The pharmacist may receive the certificate from the USA or from the medical associations. So the hospital may recognize the US certificate and give bonus to the pharmacist having the specialist certificate. So for this route, you can see this about 6 years from the program in Taiwan. From year 1 to year 4, you may spend more years at school for finish your basic pharmacy education. Then at year 5, UGY 5, you need to complete the IPPE, Introductory Pharmacy Practice Experience. At year 6, you need to finish the APPE, Advanced Pharmacy Practice Experience. Then continue after you pass the stage 2 licensure exam. You can continue to be a PGY and then R1. But right now in Taiwan, we don't offer the R2 or specialist training yet. Next slide, please. Right now, we do have some institutions. They try to cultivate direct patient care pharmacists. So those 5 institutes, they developed a pharmacy residency program in Taipei. after complete the residency program, the residents could continue the clinical specialty training or switch to community pharmacist, pharmaceutical industry, and other pharmacy-related fields to provide their patient-centered practice. Okay, next slide. Okay, so there is one exciting news about the pharmacy service reimbursement because since we have published a lot of public literature introducing about the value of the clinical pharmacist in hospitals. So finally, the Taiwan's National Health Insurance Agency, they recognize the pharmacist's value and started the reimbursement for the pharmacist cognitive service in ICU in 2019. The pharmacist must offer at least 6-month evidence in providing the continuous direct patient care in ICUs in order to be qualified for receiving the service fees. And when pharmacists, they can file the claims and complete the SOP report for filing the claims. And another, of course, the really it's a great rewards. Not only our professions was recognized and valued, but also the pharmacists filing the claims, they will be able to receive an additional rewards for the clinical pharmacist service fees. Okay, next. That's all my general introduction about the pharmacy practice professional career pathway in Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack. It's very inspiring to know about the clinical pharmacy in both Singapore and also Taiwan. Both have like very unique from each of the countries. I think there's a lot of comments from all the participants that they're very inspired from you guys. And next we have our last speaker here from Indonesia. We have Yovita Diane Titisari with us. She graduated from ITB Indonesia, the Bachelor of Pharmacy and Pharmacist, and she has continued doing her clinical pharmacy in the University College London, and now she is the clinical pharmacist at MRCCC Siloam Hospitals in Jakarta. And Yovita is here with us now. Can we welcome Yovita to the floor?
Thank you, Kimmy. I'm trying to share my slides for now. Oh, sorry. Okay. I think it's working now, Kimmy?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon from Indonesia, everyone. Thank you, Kimmy, for the kind introduction, and thank you for the AYPG committee for this valuable opportunity for me to speak here. My name is Yovita. I'm a clinical pharmacist, and now I'm working in hospitals in Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia. So before we have heard Dr. Doreen Tan from Singapore and Dr. Jack Chen from Taiwan explaining about the clinical pharmacy practice in their respective countries. And I'm going to share a bit about choosing career as a professional clinical pharmacist here in Indonesia. I hope my sharing will be of use for you who want to pursue career as clinical pharmacy, especially in the area where clinical pharmacy practice is not yet established well, like here in Indonesia. And please note that my experience may not represent all clinical pharmacy practice in Indonesia due to various circumstances in the working environment in every hospital in Indonesia. So first of all, I would like to introduce you to the career path for most hospital pharmacists, including the clinical pharmacy practicing in the hospital in Indonesia. So when you are a pharmacist working in a hospital, you could be in an inpatient department, inpatient division, in the outpatient division, in the warehouse division, or you could be the pharmacist doing the clinical pharmacy services. So when you first came to the hospital, you usually start as a staff, and after some while, you could be promoted as a supervisor for each division, and on top of that, you can be the manager, as known as the head of pharmacy department. To my knowledge, it is quite rare for pharmacists to hold the position higher than the head of pharmacy department in the hospital in Indonesia. In some hospital, I saw pharmacists could do the ancillary medical affairs manager job, so they can cover not only pharmacy services, but also the laboratory and the radiology services and other ancillary medical affairs job. But that depends on where the hospital is. And from this organization chart, you may think that the career path is quite limited, but I will talk more about this later. So I'm going deeper into the clinical pharmacy work in the hospital. So for most hospital, we prefer a pharmacist with master degree in clinical pharmacy to be their clinical pharmacist. However, we do have those who haven't got a master degree. For example, in Indonesia, for they who graduate as a bachelor and registered pharmacist, they can still do the clinical pharmacy job as long as they have an adequate knowledge on clinical pharmacy, and most importantly is the willingness to do the clinical pharmacy task. And this is the list of the tasks that we have to perform in daily basis as clinical pharmacists. So it includes, but not limited to, medication reconciliation, prescription screening, and drug therapy monitoring and bedside visit, the adverse drug event reporting, medication counseling, and we also have to actively participate in the pharmacy and therapy committee and the antimicrobial stewardship team. We also work closely with other divisions in the hospital. For example, in this picture, it's me giving the education for the nursing division, because here in Indonesia, the drug administration is still did by the nurse. So that's why we, as a pharmacist, give some education about how to handle the drug correctly to the nurse. And the good news is, the clinical pharmacist in Indonesia is on high demand. This is due to the requirements from the National Hospital Accreditation. We call it SNARS here in Indonesia. In the SNARS accreditation, they have the section that the point is to do the clinical pharmacy task in daily basis. So that's why a lot of Indonesian hospitals now are looking for capable clinical pharmacists to do the job. Because if they want to get accredited, they have to do the clinical pharmacy work. So yeah, we have bright future lies ahead, hopefully. Now a bit about myself. After I graduated as a registered pharmacist, I worked in a pharma company as a medical scientific liaison. But after some years, I realized that my patient is doing a pharmacy practice directly to the patient. So that's why I went for my further study and I took master degree in clinical pharmacy. And after I graduated as a master in clinical pharmacy, I start to work as clinical pharmacist here in this hospital. So it's been my 5th year here. And my responsibility is to deliver the clinical pharmacy service, mainly in the intensive care unit and in the general and oncology ward, because the hospital where I work at is specializing in oncology and cancer treatment. When I first started my work, I'm very, very thankful that my senior colleague already paved the start of doing the clinical pharmacy work. But I still face the challenges, and I think the challenge is the same everywhere. Not everyone in the hospital know or familiar with clinical pharmacists, especially the doctors and the nurses. They're not really familiar with clinical pharmacists. Sometimes people asking me when I'm wandering in the ward, like, who are you? What are you doing in the ward? Something like that. So first of all, I think it's very important to gain their trust. If they trust us, they will acknowledge us, and they know what is the benefit of having clinical pharmacists in the team. And in order to gain the trust, we of course have to prove our value. And to prove our value, for my experience, it takes time. So it's not gonna happen in just one night. It takes time, but you will see, you will sow what you reap. So please be patient and please continue the hard work. For me, it was not an easy task in the beginning as well. I remember the first time I joined the critical care unit meeting, the doctor gave me such a difficult question. So after that, I spent most of my night after working hours and even my weekends to study hard about the drugs used in critical care area and in oncology, because I thought I have very limited knowledge about them back then. I also, not just to, I improve my knowledge, I also tried, like Dr. Doreen said, the soft skill about being clinical pharmacist. So I try to always engage with others. I try to engage with the doctors, the nurses, the nutritionists, everyone in the world, the patients, of course, because I know doing the clinical pharmacy practice is not a solo performance. No, not at all. It's a teamwork job. So yeah, have to engage with others. And after some times, I can get the fruits of what I did. So this is the first picture here is me and the critical care unit teams, the intensivists, the doctors, the nurses, the nutritionists. And the second picture is me in the oncology ward with the palliative doctors. And this is the oncology doctors and the nurses in the oncology wards. So after some times, they acknowledge that clinical pharmacists helps them to prevent, to detect medication error and drug-related problems. Also, we can make suggestions to maximize patients' therapy outcome. We also assist the patients with their medication and so on. And I think to better proving the value of having clinical pharmacists, I always love to show it by data. Because if you have the data with you, it is easier to speak to the hospital higher management about what is the importance of having clinical pharmacy in your hospital. And that's why I love to do the research. It's mainly about the role of clinical pharmacists and the benefit of having clinical pharmacists. And its impact mainly to the medication safety, but I think I will do also about the pharmacoeconomic things, because you know something related with money will always attract the interest of the hospital owner. And I talked earlier about the limited career path in hospital pharmacy in Indonesia, right? But for me, talking about career is not just talking about going the ladder up, you know, being a manager, being a director, not just about that. It's about your personal improvement. So that's why I love to do the research, and I love to share this research, whether in a poster presentation or oral presentation in various conferences, various seminars. I tried not to only show it to the pharmacy audiences. I also, this is the picture of me trying to talk about my research in benefit of having clinical pharmacy in ICU in front of the intensivists. So they are senior intensivists, and yeah, I think it's their first time hearing someone from the pharmacy talking about their role in the critical care unit, and I'm so happy with that. And so yeah, by doing this research, I also think it increased my expertise in this field. Unfortunately, unlike in Taiwan and Singapore, we don't have any specialty in pharmacy, clinical pharmacists in Indonesia, not yet. But from what I know, the Indonesian Pharmacist Association is now working closely with the FIP to model a pharmacy advanced program, and I hope it will launch very soon, so it will attract and it will motivate the hospital pharmacists in Indonesia for their further career. And me and some of my seniors also initiate a group of Indonesian clinical pharmacists who works in critical care area. So we have this group of critical care pharmacists in Indonesia. We use this group to share our knowledge, and hopefully later on, these small groups will be, the beginning of the recognized specialization, like in the UK, in the US, in Australia, and Singapore, and Taiwan. It's not always a sweet moment for me doing the clinical pharmacy work. There are many upsetting and even, I have to admit, tearful times when I'm doing these clinical pharmacy jobs. But when those low times come to me, I always remember some of the good testimony, either from the patients, the doctors, or the nurses that I'm showing in the slide here. So all this testimony and all the smiles in patients' face, all the satisfaction from the doctors and the nurses when they are satisfied with my work, that drives my patient up until now to work as clinical pharmacist. It always be my greatest pleasure if patient can get the best of their medication, and if my team, the doctors, the nurses, are satisfied with my help and our teamwork. So this will be my last slide. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you guys find this sharing helpful. And good afternoon, and this is the clinical pharmacy team in our hospital now. I'm sending you regards from Indonesia. Bye-bye. And Kimi, I give it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Yovita, for the presentation and sharing your personal stories. And it is really exciting to see how you worked and you studied so far. Thank you guys for, thank you all speakers for today's presentation and all the stories, personal stories. And as you might all know, like we are currently receiving Q&A at the Zoom Q&A tool. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask questions in the Q&A tool. And also, we would like to ask all speakers about, like, we chose 4 general questions out of like tens of like questions, and we would like to ask all speakers about like same questions to all speakers. And that one start with, I would like to hear more about like your most memorable experiences that make you do or choose your career. So can we start with Shimpei?
Okay, thank you, Minjun. Your question is the most memorable situation that choose my career. Okay, let me think about it. The most memorable thing is that yeah, so I think that I've already mentioned in my slide, the patients always, if I support patients, the patients really appreciate us. So they will say thank you, and they will come more frequently, and they will sometimes they will call my name, just they don't call pharmacist, just call my name, and they will show their appreciate how they appreciate to the pharmacist. So especially the most difficult, patients have sometimes very difficult situations, like with the experience their side effects, or their treatment didn't go well, or sometimes their family members passed away. So as a pharmacist, as a community pharmacist, so sometimes we have that kind of moment. Then we will really try to understand their situations. So once they share their patient's experience or their appreciation, so I will be really happy, because that's I believe that I'm doing right things. So that is my memorable situations. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that's like communication and like appreciation from patients is the most rewarding moment, I think. And next, can we hear from Suneerat?
Same question, right? What the situation?
Yes, your memorable experiences that make you choose your career or that make you do your career.
Yeah, actually, I don't may choose my career, but I choose my husband. So I get this career. But when I work with community pharmacy, I think they have the good thing in that. Like last month, I worked with the doctor in the hospital, and when when the customer come to me, they say something they don't tell the doctor because the doctor look like really more serious, but they feel comfortable to talk with the pharmacy at the pharmacy store because it's like more comfortable, more relaxed, and they tell everything. They tell that they have never tell the doctor that they're smoking, they're drinking alcohol, but they tell me everything. So we plan everything. We plan the medication plan for them. If they would like to drink a beer, okay, we move the time to take the medicine, something like that. Because we focus the quality of life. We don't want to use like a treatment for the curing, but we treat for whole their life. That's why I think is our value in this community pharmacy. Thank you.
Wow, that's so nice. And maybe next we can have Doreen to share her insight about the clinical pharmacy.
Yeah, hi. So my question came out, I was thinking to myself, oh no, I've got so many examples and so many experiences. Which one shall I share first? I would say this was an encounter with a very senior consultant. So in the olden days when we first started up our anticoagulation service, and this was in the inpatient setting, I had started up the inpatient consultation. And this is very senior consultant who is also a respiratory physician. And, you know, in general, respiratory physicians don't really believe in needing a pharmacist at all because their formulary is like a lot smaller than some of the other disciplines. And so I remember going to review two of his patients in his ward, and one was a very obese patient, and one was a very young lady with DVT, and she was having her menstrual period, and so she was bleeding a lot. And so I tried to advise on the dosing. And this guy came around and he told me off and he said, you should not touch my patients in this ward. So I was like, why? And so, you know, because even as a young pharmacist, I don't really care for senior consultants, right? Excuse me, I know better than you, right? So I was like, why? And then he went, because you're causing my junior doctors to de-skill. So you stay out of this ward for this week and let me handle my patients together with my junior doctors. So I was like, okay, it's not like I need the patients in this one. I'm so busy already. So okay, Joe, just go ahead. And that was a Monday. And then by Thursday, this same senior consultant calls me and he said, Doreen, my young doctors are killing the patients. You need to come back in. So I was like, oh, so now you need me? And he says, yeah, because my junior doctors just don't know how to dose. And there was the fat guy with the DVT. They have missed 1 day of warfarin. And because of that, they had to continue dosing the patient with low molecular weight heparin. And that's going to extend the length of stay for the patient. And so I felt like that was a small success for us as pharmacists. Initially, a senior doctor thinking that they can handle everything themselves because they've got enough experience. And then later realizing that actually they do need a multidisciplinary input from us as well. And because we've got so much more experience with handling warfarin patients that we can give very important inputs. And since then, this senior consultant has started welcoming pharmacists into his ICU team. And that's how I think from the start, we managed to convince the senior consultant that pharmacists are necessary. So this was one of the first few things that I experienced as a young pharmacist that kept me going. I initially wanted to be a doctor. I didn't get into medicine. And then got into pharmacy. And then I thought to myself, what was really the meaning of life, right? Because, you know, I didn't get my first choice and I was so used to getting my first choice. But since I stepped out into practice, I've never regretted it, because there's so many experiences, and one of them being the patients grabbing your hand and telling you, "You are my angel." That will never, you know, if you gave me the choice again, I would never have chosen otherwise. I would still have chosen to enter the field of pharmacy. Thank you.
Wow, very inspiring story. And maybe before you leave, you can share us the quote that you use to like motivate yourself, or what quote you believe to work as a clinical pharmacy.
I think the most important thing that everyone has to remember is focus. Focus on the end that you want. Don't go follow everyone else just because there's a fashion to get a PharmD or anything, that you go and also follow everyone else to do all those things. You do have to remember that whatever you do or whatever you add on, even certification otherwise, is always towards the endpoint that you want to seek. So I always say that sometimes, you know, too much drive is also no good, because too much drive without direction and insights actually is insanity, because you'll be just banging yourself against the wall trying to get all sorts of stuff. But in the first place, it doesn't add on to what you want to advance yourself with. It's also important to know what really deep inside your strengths are. And essentially find your ikigai, because that would, I don't know whether I pronounced it correctly, but find your ikigai, and that will guide you in your major life decisions. Yeah, so guys, always reflect, and again, develop the drive to always do the right thing.
Okay, thank you so much, Doreen, for your time being with us here, and happy Saturday with your kids. We can move now to hear some more story from Jack. Jack, you're ready to share your memorable stories in clinical pharmacy?
Yeah, sure. Because I have a lot of experience from community pharmacy, academia, also hospital pharmacy, and now become a division director in clinical pharmacy practice. So the most memorable moment I will think about would be, because in my division, I have to work with around 35 pharmacists, including compounding pharmacists, clinical trial pharmacist, and the clinical pharmacist. So how do you bring the different perspective of the pharmacist all together and working together toward a goal? Because our hospital, we are a joint commission international recognized hospital, a JCI accredited. So I remember about 2 years ago when we experienced the accreditation, and I have to bring all my colleagues together, working like almost day and night for the entire 3 months. And after we finally passed the accreditation and meet the standards, I realized, wow, that's really a great moment, because during this accreditation moment, this period, we need to work together, not only within our team, but also we need to work with other, like a nurse, physician, medical affairs, a variety of the medical teams inside the hospital. I think that's a great a moment and a most memorable moment for me, yeah, in my career as a pharmacy director. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jack, for your answers. And lastly, we have Yovita. So can we hear from Yovita for the question? Same question? Same question.
Yes. I think it's the same for me, just like everyone said. It's when the patients came to you and say that they are very thankful about your explanations. So one patient, because I'm working in a cancer hospital, so you know that an oncology patient or cancer patients they go back and forth to the hospital because they have to do the chemo treatment regularly. So one patient said like this to me, because I encountered her for the first chemotherapy, and she is so satisfied with what I explained about her chemo regimens and what will be the possible side effects and how to minimize the side effects. She said to me like, from now on, I appoint you as my personal pharmacist. She said it like that. And she saved my WhatsApp number, and we still chat and continue. It's not just about working anymore. She asked about my kids, how are you doing? And she sent me some food, and she delivered some food to the office for me. And yeah, so it's very nice to engage closely to the patient like that. And also with the doctors and the nurses, once they know that it's very a benefit to have clinical pharmacy, if there are anything related to the medication and they are unsure about it, they always contact me in the first place. So they don't want to search for the information by themselves. They just try to contact me and ask me for questions. I clearly remember it's even on my wedding day. One of the doctor called me and said like, "Where are you?" I was like, "It's my wedding day. Of course I'm on my wedding." And he said, "Oh, sorry, I just forgot about it. I want to ask a question about this, and this." And I was like, "No, can I just rest for one day?" But that's what makes me very thankful, since I think they are appreciate what we have done as a clinical pharmacy team by far. And that's what is the most memorable for me doing this clinical pharmacy things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yovita, for your answers. And yes, it's really nice to hear from you. And also, I have like I would like to ask one or two more questions to speakers, and we'll have the volunteers for the questions. And the question will be this: many participants, many attendees in this webinar are asking whether do they have any chances for international pharmacists to work in your country? So yes, many students are interested in practicing as a pharmacist in other countries, such as like me. I want to go abroad and I want to work as a pharmacist as well. And I would like to hear from the speakers the answers. Do we have any volunteers out of the speakers who can answer these questions?
Jack, you want to share for Taiwan?
Yeah, sure. Taiwan, the Department of Education, they recognize some countries the pharmacy degree, such as USA. I will probably say also like Japan or even the Philippines or the South Korea, Republic of Korea, such as. So I would say as long as your education has been recognized by your degree is recognized by our Department of Education, you will be able to enter to pass we call the equivalent exam or the licensure exam. And after the exam, you may also need to do finish certain hours of the internship, and then you can be work as a pharmacist in Taiwan. And I do have the colleagues before. She got her degree from South Carolina, USA, and then she just entered to pass or also another colleagues working graduate from Nottingham University in UK, and then now they all can use their abroad international degree and then pass the licensure exam in Taiwan, and after completing certain hours of the internship, and then were able to practice in Taiwan. Yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. And I think most of the question goes directly to Singapore. Maybe we can have Kevin to answer on behalf of Singapore pharmacists.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name is Kevin. I'm a Singapore registered pharmacist. I'm an Indonesian. So for Singapore, they have a very clear-cut guideline. So you must be graduating from a Singapore Pharmacy Council recognized universities. So in cases like, for example, in Malaysia, you have USM, University Science Malaysia, which is recognized in the whole of Malaysia as a SPC recognized universities. Then after that, once you graduate from there, you can apply to Singapore Pharmacy Council for a foreign trained pharmacist. So after that, you have to go through examination. It's the same like Jack in from Taiwan side. So you have to go for a pharmacy license test. You also have to go through English test, TOEFL. If let's say you're not from a English, if let's say your education is not in English. After graduating, after finishing the exam, you will need to work for about 1 year as a conditional pharmacist, where you are actually supervised by another senior pharmacist in Singapore. So after that, then you can actually start working. So I'll put in the chat group, the chat box, what are the requirements, what are the links. You can actually access it from there. Yep. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask again. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe we can ask Shimpei, any chance to work in Japan?
Okay. Yeah, actually, I never seen any international pharmacist in Japan. I actually went to Canada to become an international pharmacist, but in Japan, so probably it's really rare to see those people, because I've just heard just one person who graduated from other countries, but except that one case, I never seen and never heard of that any pharmacist became like international pharmacist became a farm in Japan. But there is a requirement, and the health ministry page. So at first, like people graduated from pharmacy school in their country, and it is equivalent to the Japanese education. So it is a 6 years education. So probably that person can apply the exam. Also, the Japanese language proficiency is required because our country is not English speaking country. So our practice or everything is done in Japanese. So examinations are Japanese. So probably that is the hardest part to become a pharmacist in Japan. And also, yeah, I think that will be the requirement to become a pharmacist here.
Thank you. So actually the language might be one of the factors that you need to be able to communicate and pass the exam. I also think in Thailand and also some of Asian countries that use the English is not our formal language, so that need to, for you guys, if you want to work abroad, you need to study their language as well. And maybe Minjun, you can move to the last question as the student.
Yes. As some of you might know, like I'm still a student, and I'm in the last year of the college school of pharmacy. I'm about to graduate very soon. So I would like to ask the speaker on behalf of the students that whether you guys have any suggestions for the students when we choose our career. So like based on my experience on like considering my situation, like advice and suggestion for the future career is definitely needed. So I want to hear from the speakers so that I can choose my career
you choose one.
wisely. Do we have any, can we volunteer or?
Maybe we can ask Anne.
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
Okay.
But she also has experience in IPS at April.
Okay, I think because now you have to know yourself which one your career in your future, right? But nowadays maybe you not sure. So firstly, you have to prepare yourself as you can do. I mean, in language or many things, many skills like a soft skill, hard skill, you can practice now, and you do. If you have to do activity like Min Jun, you do activity as well. You do like international level, you can contact with person, because in the future we have the 21st skill, right? Like have to communicate and IT. You have to prepare everything to ready for the occasion in the future, because we don't know when the occasion come to us. So if you prepare yourself first, when the occasion come, you can grab it. You know what I mean? That's all I think for everyone. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe Yovita, you would have any more suggestion for the students? I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just unmute myself. I think for the students, going through various internship will help you a lot to know which area of pharmacy practice is the best for you, is the most suitable for you. So while you are a student, please have an experience to do various internship. But I know during this COVID-19, it's quite hard to do the internship program. But as far as I know, there are various organizations, including AYPG, doing the webinar like this. So please come and join this webinar so you can at least know what is happening in the real life. And hopefully we can do the internship soon after this pandemic ends.
Okay, thank you, Yovita. And maybe may I invite Audrey, our president, AYPG president. Maybe she has more suggestions for the students.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Kimi. To answer Minjun's questions, I think for all the young pharmacists, especially the students, you might still have no idea what kind of career you want to go as a pharmacist. So I would really suggest not only that you come to this session, but also coming to our next two sessions on industrial, academia, NGO, and governmental. So you can see the whole pictures of what we can do as pharmacists, because pharmacist is very broad, it's very wide. And then you can also see what kind of character, what kind of job that would fit you well. So I would really suggest to listen and to hear more. So then when you choose your career, then you can choose with a very strong footing there. And I believe that you will be the one that bring changes to the pharmacist profession later on. And then before we continue further, because with our time limitation, I would like to ask help from all of you to answer our polls here. Okay. This is the first poll. Please help to answer.
Yeah, so the first question is your age. Which range are you in? Wow, someone is under 19. That's a surprise. Okay. Well, most of us here are 29 years old, actually. You have 30 more seconds to answering the poll. Okay. Can we move to the next question?
Can we move to the next question? Okay.
I think now I just share the polling result, and this way we will launch another questions. Do we have more poll?
I
Kevin?
think we have 3 questions.
Yeah, we have more questions.
Yeah, right.
I can launch the poll number 2.
Yeah. Can
Yes,
go for
please.
number 2. Okay, area of pharmacy practice that you are in now. Are you community pharmacy, hospital, or clinical? Are you academia, industry, government, NGO, or students? Or you can click others if it's.
Wow, we have many students here.
Maybe it's
Just like me.
your fan club.
Yeah,
Me?
Minjun Oppa fan club.
I come here to support you. Wow.
Minjun, please smile more.
Wow, we have more than 100 students in this webinar.
Yes.
So I think this webinar helped a lot to choose their career in the future.
I shall launch another poll. Are you Minjun's fan club member?
Add that question, I think.
So can I close the poll and then move to the next question?
I think we still have a bit more. I think give it another 10 seconds,
Yeah.
15 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
A couple of people are still. Okay, I think we are good to go.
Okay.
Yeah, please end and then share result. And I'm going to the third poll.
Yeah.
Okay, third poll. Okay.
All right. We're moving to the next question.
Okay, last one.
Last one. So after joining this webinar, have your perspective and confidence level changed after listening to all the panelists? You have 3 choices. Yes for positive change, yes for negative change, and no. Wow, most of them are saying yes for positive. All the speakers should be happy, inspiring a lot of people here. All right, we wait a bit more, like 10 seconds, since we can end the poll.
Yeah, I have to see number is going up.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I think we are. Oops. Okay. We still have a bit more.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I will close.
Yep.
Yep, and yeah, that's the result showing on your screen.
Share result. Yes.
All right. Can we have the slide back for the ending part of this session? On behalf of AYPG, actually, we're really sorry that we cannot answer all the questions, but all the speakers try so hard to answer them all in the question box. For those, is direct to them. Can we have the slides back, please? Okay. Yeah, before ending this session, on behalf of AYPG, we just launched our Instagram. So please do follow us on the Instagram and all the activities and also the incoming webinar will be promoting there and also our Facebook. Next, please. Here we are. Thank you to all the speakers who has made this afternoon very meaningful and inspiring for all the pharmacists here. Thank you, MIMS, for the support and coordination, and also thank you, IPSF April, to featuring with us, and we're looking forward for you guys and also more participants to come in the next webinar. Kindly scan the QR code to complete the survey, and we would like to hear for the your preference? Or is it more, wait, this way. Do we have the slide for the?
We will be uploading a video at the AYPG Facebook for this event, and stay tuned.
Okay. The link has sent to the chat. You can click the link for the survey. Thank you all the speakers. Thank you Shimpei from Japan. Thank you Suneerat from Thailand. Thank you Doreen from Singapore. Thank you Yovita from Indonesia. Thank you Jack from Taiwan. Thank you Min-jun for being our moderator here. Oh, now wait, don't stop. I spotlight you so you can send the love to all the participants. Yes, and yeah, thank you for supporting.